live. Let's see. Let's see. Looks like it. Yes, we're live. Hey, y'all. I am live with Mayor Stockton, Mayor Michael Tubbs. I'm going to give you guys a couple of seconds to log in. Hey, Mayor, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just trying to recover from last night. I'm traumatized. I'm very traumatized. So I'm going to give people a second to jump in and then we're going to get into it. It's been a while since I have done a live stream because I was just kind of taking a little bit of a break, but I'm happy to see lots of people on Twitter and Instagram and not Instagram, I'm not on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook that are logging in. So, hey, y'all, hey, y'all, hey, y'all. As you guys are logging in, let me just give you a little bit of background about Mayor Michael Tubbs in case you're not familiar with him, which you've been sleeping. You're not woke if you are not familiar with the mayor. But I'm just gonna, give you guys a brief bio of the Honorable Mayor Michael Tubbs. On November 2016, Michael Tubbs was elected to serve as the mayor of the city of Stockton, California, upon taking off. Now, that was the same time that Trump was elected. So I'm sure that was a little bit of a mixed feeling there. But upon taking office in January 2017, elected at the age of 26, Michael Tubbs became the nation's youngest mayor for a city of over 100,000 people and Stockton's first African American mayor, recognized as one of Politico's top 50, Fortune's 2018 top 40 under 40, Forbes 2018 list of 30 under 30. Tubbs' leadership, paired with an ambitious, progressive agenda, has received national recognition. Since taking office, Mayor Michael Tubbs secured a $20 million private donation to launch Stockton Scholars, which will provide up to $4,000 to help students pay for college or trade school. Mayor Tubbs also worked to bring Advanced Peace to Stockton, a program that works to reduce gun violence in communities by identifying and engaging the less than 1% of Stockton's population known to commit crimes. Mayor Tubbs also launched the nation's first ever municipal level basic income pilot known as the Stockton Economic Empowerment Demonstration, or SEED. And I'm gonna skip a little bit of the rest of stuff because people don't want me to just read to them the whole time. But you just have such an impressive, progressive, track record as the mayor. I told people that I was going to be interviewing you. Everybody was excited. I got nothing but rave reviews. I love the mayor. He's so awesome. He's so amazing. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Unbossed Unfiltered Live, Mayor Tubbs.
No, thank you. I was telling people before I got on, I said, you understand, it's my favorite political commentator. After every primary debate, I would just watch for your little clips and see sort of your raw, unfiltered, but very true and very researched analysis of what was going on. So it's great to be in conversation with you.
Thank you. Well, speaking of the debate, did you watch the debate last night? The presidential debate with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. It was the first time of them coming together. Expectations, I think, were high on both sides. What did you think?
I think I was in the council meeting for half the debate.
Oh, okay.
So I missed the first half, but the half I saw, it was the white supremacist part, and I was actually like terrified. I had never in my life. I mean, we knew the president was a white supremacist based off his policies,
right?
But for him, when asked point blank, "Will you disavow white supremacists?" His response was, "What do you want me to say?
Yeah,
what
name
groups?"
them.
So what scared me was that he refused to denounce white supremacy. He's like, "I'll pick and choose a group if you give me a group, but the whole concept I'm not going to disavow." And then he just pivoted and said, "Proud Boys, stand by, stand ready." Like that sounded like a threat to me. So I remember texting my friends and said, like, "Are you guys watching this?" And then after that, I think Joe Biden did the best he could, but I mean, it wasn't a debate. Like there's no way you could debate Donald Trump in that format and escape looking clean because you're playing with. When you play with pigs, you don't get dirty. You can't not cut them back off. You can't not sometimes give them a little insults back. So I'm not sure we should keep debating unless there's like a mute button or the mics are cut off, because it cheapens the office of the presidency, in my opinion, to have that be the U.S. presidential debate, particularly given the crisis we're in. Like, this is some serious stuff.
Yeah, it totally debased the office of the presidency. Even though that's what Trump has been doing for 3 years now, I was like, this is a new low because you're supposed to act civilized for a debate. And to your point, I personally think that Trump's answer, I don't know if you guys remember in the 2016 debates when he was asked to disavow David Duke. I feel like his answer got worse in 2020. I mean, he did not even come close to disavowing it. He said stand by and stand back. And it's like, wait a minute, like you said, that sounds like a stand by, I'll call you when I need to call you. And so I mean, he's, like you said, his policies, he's running a white nationalist administration now, everything from immigration to his criminal justice policy to climate justice. I mean, all over the place, we just see time and time again where he clearly is running a white supremacist campaign and a white supremacist administration. To your point, I do think that Joe did the best that he could, but I think there were some missed opportunities there. It blew my mind that $400 million in debt did not come up. That to me was like like I didn't see the last 72 hours of front page news in that debate, aside from what Chris Wallace brought up. So I agree with you. There shouldn't be any more debates. I mean, at least except for Kamala and Mike Pence. That's going to be entertaining. But Trump is completely incapable of having a debate. And he really treated the debate like one of his press conferences, because that's what he does at his press conferences. He bullies people and he railroads people. And I think he saw that that Biden was a little unnerved by it. And I think once he's like a shark, once he has blood in the water, he just pounced. And I don't think he did himself any favors because it was just bullying. There's a difference between being tough and being a bully, and he was just a straight up bully to everybody. So I just think more than anything, whether not even about changing votes, it's just embarrassing for our country. So whatever is going to happen with that, I'm looking forward to Senator Kamala Harris debating Mike Pence. Unfortunately for her, the expectations are sky high. What do you predict about that debate? That's on October 7th.
I think I remember when the senator was running for president in the primary, and she said, "I'm running to prosecute the case against Donald Trump."
Yeah.
And I think her DNC acceptance speech was good, but what was fire was that speech she gave about COVID.
Yes.
Prosecute the case against Donald Trump's administration for 20 minutes. So I'm expecting her to really plainly level with the American people about the abject failure of this administration. Because Donald Trump hasn't just been bad to people of color. He's been a terrible president for white people. He's just been a terrible, incompetent president. He's just not good. Like, he's not good at anything. Anything he manages is bankrupt or a failure or corrupt. Like, he's just, and I think she's going to level and show very clearly Trump's role, but also Pence's culpability. I feel a little bit bad for the brother because he was chair of the COVID task force. And I'm sure she'll bring up the fact that we've had the worst COVID response in the entire world, like every country in this world. Yeah. America has the worst COVID response. And Mike Pence, you're in charge of that?
Yeah.
He says his prayers, hopes and prayers.
Yeah. I hope that she is Kamala's Kamala. I hope that she brings that prosecutorial, just laser precision of just dismantling people, because she can prosecute the case like nobody else. She has been all over the COVID response, and she knows how poor of a job Mike Pence has done. Now, Mike Pence is not going to be the bully in terms of his delivery, but we know he's going to lie. We know he's going to equivocate. We know he's going to deflect. We know he's going to be just as grimy. So I just hope that whatever Kamala does, that she takes it to him. Everybody expects her to be tough, so there's no reason to come in there and be grandma. You don't have to come in there and be grandma Kamala. Go ahead and come in.
Or even, and I love you, but don't be Mamala either.
Don't be Mamala.
I need prosecutor, attorney, top. I need top cop. I need the attorney. where she says, I led the largest Department of Justice, second only to the U.S. Department of Justice. That's who I need.
Yeah. There was one article that came out a long time ago, and it was about her, how she debated in that first debate against the Terrence Hallinan and then the other guy. And she said, oh, I'm not going to talk about people having sex in the office under your watch and then you having this. And like, she just like, ooh, like, that's what I want to see. Come on out and just like fight. So we'll see. But yeah, no mama love, except for when you're talking to the American people. I love how they do that. They face the American people. Okay, mama love. But when you're facing Pence, bring it out. So anyways, okay. But here's the thing. It's 2020. You're actually up for re-election. Tell us a little bit about your experience. Now you're the incumbent. You wiped the floor with the incumbent the last time you ran. You got 70% of the vote. It was a historic win. Now you are the man to beat. So what has your experience been like in this campaign?
It's been fascinating because every time I've run from city council to mayor, I've always been the challenger. So I can always point to someone's record and say all the deficiencies. And now I'm running as the incumbent. So I have to run on not just what I said, but what I did. And I think there's never enough to be done because there's so many problems, but we've made 40% reduction in homicides from bankruptcy to second most fiscally healthy city. But then the All-American city, scholarships, basic income, etc. But even then, I think what's been interesting is that how at the local level, people have taken cues from what's happening nationally.
Right.
I think for some people, just what I represent as a young Black man who's unapologetically Black, who's very clear that white supremacy is bad and has no place, who is very clear that government has to work for everyone, who's very clear about the need for equity. It's created a lot of backlash. Like there's entire misinformation sites that sprung up as soon as I was elected, and for 3 years have been being a social media sort of Fox News. So it's been interesting to see the stuff at a national level play out locally. But I must say I've been really impressed with the coalition of support we've built of folks who are saying, no, everything ain't perfect, but things ain't never been perfect. And progress is not the same as perfection, and we're gonna get there. So it's been I like it though, because I could say, look, like you said, look up our receipts. Hell, you might not like everything I say, but look at what we've done. If you could do better, good luck, because I think we've done miraculous work. Frankly, we led the state in declining officer-involved shootings. Like on every single issue that's talked about, we're either leading or seeing reductions, and I'm proud of that. So I know I annoy some people, but I stand by my record. I'm so proud of my record. I'm so proud of what we've done, with an understanding that we have more to do, which is why I'm running again, right? Like if I was done, I wouldn't be running again.
Right, absolutely. And I want to talk more about all these wonderful things that you've done, but you said something that really hit me immediately, was this misinformation campaign. And I remember seeing this like random Instagram account that had like 2 posts that was like basically running like an anti Michael Tubbs like rally or something like that in the middle of this Black Lives Matter thing. So how do you see the misinformation and disinformation campaign that people are kind of starting to recognize is happening on the national level, but how do you see it like playing out in terms of the local level at your race, and how does it make it more challenging to kind of break through to people when they're getting they're getting subjected to this information?
Oh, well, it's fascinating because I've had conversations with other mayors, and they're seeing this in their communities as well. So I think there's some sort of like Koch brother or right wing, some sort of network that's really funding these things. So particularly if you look at sort of the state of journalism, particularly in mid-sized towns like Stockton, right? Where there's like one newspaper. You see what's happening with journalism that lay people off. They're not able to get news out as quickly. They're not really savvy with social media, so it creates a vacuum with which sensationalism and misinformation thrives, and particularly with so many people on Facebook. And in Stockton, part of the reason why I stress education so much is because of the top 100 cities in this country, we're number 99 in terms of adults with a 4-year degree or higher, which isn't necessarily it's correlated with critical thinking, although there's people like my mom with high school degrees who can read a website and say it's false, but that's not the case for everyone. So I think that as part of the administration, I'm glad both VP Biden and Senator Harris have experience with this. We have to have some sort of antidote, because it's poisonous. It creates conditions with which democracy can't function if people are playing with two different sets of facts and literally living in two different realities and being fed that evil from Facebook and Instagram and other sources. So and I think to our detriment, we didn't take it seriously enough because we thought, well, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Everyone knows it's crazy. No one's going to believe this, but particularly when people are struggling, particularly when people are busy, particularly when people are upset and anxious, don't believe anything. And then there's all this research that says, particularly people with biases, you find information, even if it's false, that confirms your bias. And then you actually hunker down when presented with information to the contrary. So it's made the job a little bit more difficult for sure.
Yeah, and I've said this so many times. People will believe a sensational lie over the simple truth, and I think that's kind of the trick: is to make it as sensational, make it as scandalous, make it as provocative, and people harp onto it. Where common sense and critical thinking would be like, that don't even sound right. That sounds really bad. If that was really happening, I would think there would be, it would be everywhere. It wouldn't just be something that I'm seeing on some meme on some Instagram. But people, the more sensational, the more ridiculous it is. People just latch onto it, and it's like trying to like detangle them is like it's difficult. It's very, very difficult to do. So God bless you for having to deal with that. But I want to talk about you have so many impressive things. One of the things that really stands out to me is your basic income pilot. But I want to give you the opportunity to just talk about 2 or 3 things, whether it's that or other things that you really, really, really are proud of, and that just really show what happens when you put in fresh leadership, particularly Black male leadership like yourself. What is it that you're bringing and that you've done your receipts that really demonstrate why we have to embrace change and progressive leaders like yourself?
Yeah, no, I'm incredibly proud of our violence reduction and homicide work, particularly because I ran for office because my cousin was murdered in Stockton. That's literally the only reason why I decided to come back after college to be in Stockton, was to kind of work out survivor's guilt, but also make it elevate the importance that young Black men, young Latino men, young Southeast Asian men shouldn't be dying in our city every day and no one cares. Because for most of the past 30 years, the city has been double the straight average in homicides, and 92% of those have been young men of color. So through focused deterrence programs, you mentioned the Advanced Peace Program in the intro, and ceasefire, we've reduced homicides 40%. So we used to average 52, 53 homicides. For the past 3 years, including this one, we've been at 32 homicides, 33 homicides, 34. And again, one is too many, but we're talking about 40% reduction in that's just huge. That doesn't just happen. So I'm proud of that work. It took a lot of hard work between our police department had a role, our community groups had a role, our violence interrupters had a role, philanthropy had, everyone had a role. And I'm very proud of that, because I told myself, if you don't make an impact on this, you have to do something else. This is why you ran.
Right.
And then the second thing I'm proud of is kind of the guaranteed income, basic income work. When we announced we were doing this in October 2017, and everyone thought I was some crazy young guy who was just playing around, didn't understand anything.
Yeah.
And now fast forward 3 years later, and we have 25 cities in this country saying we want to do a guaranteed income pilot like it was done in Stockton. And for me, it's special for really 3 things. The first being, growing up, Stockton was always looked upon as a place of problems.
Yeah.
People always looked for us for what's broken. Let's look at Stockton. So to have people look at us for solutions feels really good. Number 2, just poverty. I hate poverty. I hate scarcity. I hate economic insecurity. I hate it.
Yeah.
So to be part of leading a conversation, particularly during this time, about what can society look like if we invest differently and do things differently. That's an honor. And then as someone who grew up hearing Dr. King and learned about basic income from Dr. King,
right,
and kind of being one of the people that are making his dream a reality, talking with his daughter about this idea and how to make it happen. It's just it's a huge honor, because it's issues I care about. And then I think the last thing is the scholarship program, because I remember growing up and trying to figure out this college thing and saying, man, I wish I had someone to help me. If I make it, God, I promise you, I'm gonna help as many people as I can, because this is not easy.
Yeah.
And to be able to give the opportunity of higher education to all the kids in my city, but more importantly, to signal to them that no, the mayor sees me. The mayor thinks I am, but I could do something after high school, and doesn't just say it, but there's money for me. I just think in terms of their own self-efficacy, it has to be a big deal.
All of those completely remarkable things. I mean, you're touching on economics, you're touching on criminal justice, but not just criminal justice, but quality of life. As Kamala likes to say, Rich calls it healthy communities, not just adding more police or anything like that, but having healthy communities and education. All absolutely incredible things that really require vision and determination and requires coalitions. And people take for granted the change that can really happen at the local level. This is something that I talked about with Mayor Robert Garcia last month.
Love Robert.
Yeah, he's so great. Local, local change is so important. But I know you have to go. So just the last thing I just want to just get out of you is there are a lot of people that are disillusioned, particularly young Black people. There have been all these studies about how they're, not sure if they're going to vote, or, they're on the fence. Just what would be your last words, you being a trailblazer at such a young age, to folks that feel like there's no place for them in the system in terms of voting or engagement? What would be your last words to them?
Yeah, I would tell people that your vote doesn't matter independent of you, meaning that your vote matters because you matter. When we say Black Lives Matter, we mean it, and that has to show up in the ballot box. Right. Because if you don't vote, your experiences, your priorities, and your aspirations for your community, guarantee will not be on the agenda. Period. Right? And I think it's about giving us chances. It's giving us the opportunity. Like, the vote is not a panacea. It's not going to solve all your issues. But if it wasn't a powerful tool, Donald Trump wouldn't have spent millions of dollars in 2016 to make sure you don't vote. Russia wouldn't be right now. Putin got whiteboards right now figuring out how to divide us and get us not to vote, because they understand, particularly in America, that when Black folks vote, the country changes. And that's why there was so much fight over the 65 Civil Rights Bill, because they understood that when Black folks get to exercise the vote, you get things like healthcare for all people. You get things like civil rights protections. You get things like real opportunities. So we need you not to vote, not just to vote. We need you. Yeah. And because we need you to vote.
Thank you so much. That's a perfect way of ending this. We'll have to do this again after the election when we have a woosah. And yeah, so thank you so much for joining me. If you have to hop off, I'm just going to say bye to the folks. Okay.
Well, I hope you get a job as VP press secretary or something.
No way. I would be too much trouble, but thank you for the vote of confidence. Okay, y'all, that was the wonderful, amazing Michael Tubbs, Mayor of Stockton. Incredible, strong Black man, really out there. Not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. And I hope, if nothing else, that you all take from this message. Number one, disinformation and misinformation is not just something to be wary of at the national level, but you have to be careful about it at every level of our society. It comes in the form of health disinformation and misinformation. It comes in the form of what's local, what's state, and what's national. So please be diligent about what kind of information you're receiving, especially before you pass it on. And then the other thing is, like Michael Tubbs said, Mayor Tubbs said, your vote matters because you matter. So if you believe that you matter, then by extension, your vote matters, your voice matters, and it does make a difference. It will make a difference. It will make all of the difference and the trajectory of this country. This is not a 4-year election. This is a 50-year election. 50 years of the state of our country is on the ballot in 2020 in terms of the presidential race, the Senate race, because that's what's going to shape our judiciary for 50 years. So thank y'all for tuning in. I know I'm kind of falling off with these. My goal is to do it at least on Wednesdays, once a week on Wednesdays, but we'll see how I'm gonna try to get my act together, y'all. But thank y'all after all this time for tuning in for my interview with the great Mayor Michael Tubbs. Bye, y'all.